Hey, kia ora, Helen Brown's here, coming live from Sun City in Arizona. Hope you've all had a super fantastic, sparkling day. Welcome to Before the Dirt Nap podcast number 1194. Again with a study? Yep. But the learning has taken place. Yes, it has been, it's been a really good day. I totally forgot to bring it out here. Hang on. Nope. Oh, I did forget to bring it out here. So yesterday, I was on a Zoom call with a friend of mine. You've all met her, Tiffany Sosa, and we did a podcast with her about 2 or 3 weeks ago. And of course, we got talking about doTERRA oils, which we both absolutely love. And we were talking about the MetaPower and some of the benefits of that. And then she had this little graphic thing that shows how to use the MetaPower and some of the other supplements that doTERRA has that can help enhance the use of the MetaPower. And I said, I don't know if I have those. And I started picking up my little bottles that I have sitting here. See, the MetaPower. And then I've got one that was called Mito 2 Max, I think it is. And it's an energy one. And I said, yeah, I've got this one, but I can't use it. And she goes, why is that? And I said, because it's got ginseng in it. And for those that don't know, I have a friend who has a doctorate in Chinese medicine. And when I went to see her for acupuncture, I said to her, I have a question. I said, you got a doctorate, you got a degree and whatever in Chinese medicine, right? And she goes, yeah, I've got a doctorate in it. And I'm like, okay, maybe you can answer this question. I said, when I get run down, I always grab either ginkgo or ginseng, products. And I said, they make me sleepy. Why is that? And she says, that's because I run hot-blooded. So my temperature, even though there's the normal range in the temperature, I run on the high side of normal because I'm warm-blooded. She said that because I'm warm-blooded and ginseng and ginkgo are both warming herbs, it puts you to sleep rather than wakes you up and gives you that energy. And I'm like, isn't that interesting? So I've always been cautious of looking at products that are labeled energy drinks, energy whatevers, combinations or whatever, and always looking to see if it's got ginkgo or ginseng in it. And if it's got either of those in it, I can't have it. If it says adaptogenic herbs, I've got to find out what those adaptogenic herbs are, because ginkgo and ginseng are an adaptogenic herb. But of course, it doesn't have that energy effect on me. It puts me to sleep. So I was explaining this to Tiffany yesterday, and she said to me, she says, not an expert in this. This is what we heard. And she gave me the doctor's name who did the training for them and all of that. But she says, you may have what's called adrenal fatigue. And I'm like, well, what's that? And she's talking about the adrenal glands being on top of the kidneys. And she says, and you put magnolia oil on top of the adrenal glands to help stimulate them and not be so. But she says, any stress that you've been under, she says, with all the stress you've been under over the last few years with taking care of Brad's passing, having to figure things out since then, all that stress and everything else may have fatigued your adrenal glands. She says, but you do magnolia. So I started going around here and I found there it is, my little bottle of magnolia. And she says, good. She says, put it on top of your, roll it over your adrenal glands on the back there. So I did that, and a few minutes later, started feeling a little not fatigued. And then she says, now with she says, I'm glad you mentioned the Mito 2 Max, because what you do is that if it puts you to sleep, and she said, and this is what this doctor said to do, is that take the Mito 2 Max, take one tablet at night before you go to bed, and it will help you sleep and give you that restorative sleep that will help the adrenal glands reset and not be so stressed out and fatigued and all that. And I'm like, okay, since ginseng and ginkgo put me to sleep, I'll give it a shot. And so I took one last night. I will tell you this, I have had some nights where I've had good night's sleep. I had a great night's sleep last night. I took the Mito 2 Max, took one tablet of that with a glass of water, and climbed into bed, did my normal reading, didn't read as long because I started getting tired, and rolled over and went to sleep, and that was it. I was out for the night. Woke up in the same position I went to sleep in, but I woke up refreshed and full of energy. And most mornings I wake up refreshed and full of energy anyway, but this was a different level of refreshed and energy. And it was sort of like, I can't remember the last time I had such a deep restorative sleep like I had last night. Last night was I get a lot of good night's sleeps. This was a great night's sleep. So I did message Tiffany earlier to say that worked. I'm trying it again tonight. So I'll keep you posted on that one. So it's interesting what you find out when you talk with people. I'm a sponge. I absorb stuff. I love learning, and today was my first assessment is due tomorrow. The assessment is done but not yet submitted. I got to a couple of questions there, and I'm looking at the source of the information. I'm looking at the sources that they give us, and we're only allowed to use. They gave us 3 documents to look at, and we can only use those 3 documents. We're not allowed to go off and search for any other research or that. We have to answer the questions based on the documentation they give us. And I was wrestling with a couple of the questions, and so I sent a note off to one of the facilitators and says, look, I'm struggling with this. I'm probably overthinking it, but for this question here, I've got this answer and this answer because it says this and it says that, and to me that's explicit in answering the question. I said, but then I got to this question, and I felt like it was implied, and not explicit like the first one was. And so I said, I'm probably overthinking this. And I said, but then some people could also argue that because of this situation, it is a parental figure, and because you had to establish a parent-child relationship, and it had, on a census report, it has the head of the house and what the relationship of each person in the house is to the head of the house. And so that's very explicit. Here's the head of the house and here's the daughter. Parent, child, done. But when it comes to the wife of the head of the house, does that mean that she is the parent? Is it explicit enough to be a parent of that child? Or is it just implied that she is a parent of the child? Because it doesn't actually say that she is the mother of this child. But then somebody else could come along and argue and go, it doesn't matter whether or not she's actually the biological mother of that child. She is the wife of the head of the house. So there is implied that, so it is established that she is a parental figure in that child's life. And I'm like, yeah, but I still think that's implied. So I sent this argument off to my instructor, and I said, I'm probably overthinking this. Please help. So I have all the questions answered, as I believe they should be, including the 2 that I'm questioning. And I said to her, I'm taking a break for the rest of the evening. I said, I'm done. I've done all the readings. I've got all the work done, all my assignments and assessments, and this exercise they get you to do along the way. They're all complete. The only thing I have to do is hit the submit button on my assessment for this module. So I said, I'm going to come back to it tomorrow with fresh eyes, a fresh brain, and because usually Sunday's my day off. I stay off the computer on Sundays, but that didn't happen today because it's not going to happen for the next 7 weeks because of these assignments and stuff. And this coming week, I have 3 days at the Leverage Conference, which, by the way, is just scrolling across the bottom of the screen if you want to come join us. Tomorrow night, we are having a speed networking event for part of as a bonus for the Leverage Conference. And then I think it's Tuesday and Wednesday, we have 2 other bonus sessions on as well. One of them is talking about the metaverse, and the other one is totally skipped my mind. But we're having these bonus sessions leading into the Leverage Conference, which is going to make the Leverage Conference. If you come along and speed networking with us tomorrow night, you'll be ahead of the game and have networked with some other people who are going to be attending, which will be awesome. So that's tomorrow night is the speed networking thing. So go to beforethedirtnapleverage.com. All the information is there. I think the first thing you'll do is put in your name and email address. Then it takes you to the page and shows you how it's all structured, what the bonus sessions are, and they'll send you email reminders for the bonus sessions as well. So I've got that coming up, which is not going to allow a lot of study time. So next weekend, actually that's Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And so next Sunday is going to be another heavy study day as well. it's going to be go, go, go for the next 7 weeks. It really is. And I ordered, oh, it's going to be interesting to see what comes in Amazon this week, because I ordered a couple of dresses to try on because I thought they would look good for my niece's wedding. And so I ordered a couple of dresses to try on, and got them coming this week. And and then I suddenly thought, oh crap, I'm going to need shoes. Damn it. Yeah, shoes are a little different for me. I have to go try those on, and they have to be comfortable, and they have to be wide. And I mean, I've got these really cool purple boots, but they're Doc Marten boots. I don't know if they'll be accepted, but they would go really good with the dresses because the dresses are purple. Anyway, getting off track. So I've got everything done. All my study and assessments and everything is done, completed. The assessment is just like waiting for me to have a clear head in the morning to go back, have a look at everything. And like I said in my note to my instructor, I'm probably overthinking this. But I would prefer to have more documentation to support these things, because it doesn't explicitly say. It's not explicit, it implies. And if I want to make it definite, then I'm going to need other supporting evidence to go with it. So it's kind of cool, because we're getting into evidence, what's direct evidence, indirect evidence, and no evidence, into the definitions of those. But it's been a really cool day. Got a lot of stuff done today. I'm burned out, tired. We're watching Her Majesty's Secret Service this evening as soon as we get back from our WALK. I did get groceries ordered too. Really nice lady. I've had a couple of good ones, and they know how to smart bag, which is nice. If you don't know what smart bagging is, all the cold stuff in this bag, all the cold stuff together, all the raw meat products go together, all the dairy stuff goes together, all the produce goes together, all the cleaners go together. So it's basically bagging everything in their type of group, so there's no chance of cross-contamination with foods and stuff. And cooked foods and raw foods are always kept separate from each other and that sort of thing as well. And I've been very fortunate. The last few ones I've had have been, I had a couple that were diamond on the Instacart. They're diamond shoppers. This one today was platinum. And it tells you how many orders they have done, how long they've been doing it, what their average rating is, and all that sort of stuff too. So it's kind of nice when you get those people. And they follow directions. Oh my gosh. I have yet to have somebody who's not a diamond thing not follow directions, because in the thing I put explicit directions for when you come in the gate, go past the gatehouse, and this is how you get to where I am. And I don't know if you've ever done an Instacart or a DoorDash, but you can actually sit there and watch them as they're driving around and everything else. And the programs don't allow you to go a certain distance back from the address. So we're in a resort that's the same street number for the whole resort. But if I put my little marker where I actually am, it turns around and says, oh, you're too far away from that address. I'm like, no, I'm at that address. And there's still 3 rows of houses behind me. And so that some of those programs don't allow for that. So I think it's like it's just under half a mile or something. So it tells you how far I am from the gate. Anyway, might be a quarter mile. No, because it's about a half a mile from here to the laundry. Yeah, something like that. Anyway, so yeah, but they follow directions, and they're always grateful for the directions too. And the number of people I get who go, you need to put some directions in there. I go, I have. And I had one guy that was lost one time. He calls me up and says, I'm trying to find the yield sign. I said, you are well past the yield sign, man. I says, this is where you need to go. And I watched him on the map, and instead of coming straight up and taking would have been a right turn instead of the left turn that they were instructed to, I said, keep on the road you're on. You'll come across my street, and you take a right onto that street and come down, and we'll be on the left-hand side because you're coming from a different direction. So he hung up. Like, he just hung up. No, thank you, no, nothing, no response. And then I watched him on the thing, and they went down here and around here and up over here, and I'm at like here, and they're doing this little tiki tour around, and finally they get to where the yield sign is, and I watch them drive up, follow the rest of the directions. I'm like, oh my gosh. So by the time the food got to me, it was a DoorDash. By the time the food got to me, it was stone cold. It was cold. I was not impressed. They did not get a very good rating. Although the problem with DoorDash is you're rating the restaurant, not the drivers. Yeah. They said, your directions weren't very clear. I says, yes, they were, because you ended up following them pretty well. Anyway, so tonight we're watching Her Majesty on Her Majesty's Secret Service. Yes, on Her Majesty's Secret Service. I think I missed a word. This is the one and only James Bond movie that George Lazenby did. He was an Australian. And I really like this one. This was the first James Bond movie that made me cry. And if you've seen the movie, you'll know why. There's a couple of reasons in there, but you'll know why. So really, it's the first movie that made me cry, and it was the first time it was the third James Bond I'd seen, because the very first movie James Bond movie I ever saw was in 1981, For Your Eyes Only, with Roger Moore. I was on my very first date ever. And that's what we went and saw, and that kind of got me hooked on James Bond. And then I found out there was a whole slew of these movies, so I had to go back and watch them. I started with the first one and started working my way through. So Sean Connery was, there for the first first 5 movies. Absolutely fell in love with Sean Connery as James Bond. Have loved him as James Bond ever since. He's my all-time favorite Bond. And then I had this one movie with George Lazenby, and I thought he actually did pretty good. I'm used to to Sean Connery being James Bond at that point, even though I'd seen Roger Moore already. But I thought George Lazenby did a pretty good job. So my question for you is, if you've seen On Her Majesty's Secret Service, what did you think of George Lazenby as James Bond? Would you have liked to have seen him in more James Bond movies, or are you just happy that he did the one and that's one of your least favorite James Bond movies? What are your thoughts about George Lazenby as James Bond? I really enjoyed him as James Bond, and I enjoyed the movie, although it did make me cry twice, for 2 different reasons. And then it explained For Your Eyes Only for me. Yes. Anyway, and some of you will get that, and some of you won't. But yeah, so we're going to be watching that tonight. So we're about to head out for a walk. It's been a beautiful day. Again, windows, doors open. I love this time of the year. The awning out. Zephy loves this time of the year because she likes to lay there at the top of the steps and just look out the screen door and absorb what's going on out there and everything else, except for when she has to go on patrol. Then she's got to be up at the front window for that. But anyway, I'm rambling. I'm tired. I need to get walking so I can get back and watch James Bond and have dinner. And what are we having for dinner tonight? I have no idea. That's a really good question. Probably something that doesn't require cooking, because I have no energy for that right now. The brain is fried. Anyway, go out, have a super fantastic sparkling evening, and we'll catch you guys back here. Hoping at 6 p.m. tomorrow. We've got the speed networking that starts at 4 o'clock, but I'm not sure how long it goes for. So I may be a couple of minutes late, but it'll be around 6 p.m. Pacific tomorrow. Have a super fantastic sparkling evening. Hei konara.